Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our reaction and review for The Bear, Season 1, Episode 3. This is a story titled Brigade. We learn a lot about the finer French traditions when it comes to running a restaurant, though I gotta be honest, I watched this episode. I'm still not sure I altogether understand it, but that's not the Bear's fault. That is my fault for being restaurant ignorant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in that world either, so I'm learning from what the bear is teaching me. So hopefully it's accurate when it comes to what the brigade is and how it actually works, that there is sort of like this hierarchy. I mean, as soon as I heard how it was kind of coming together, I was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
This seems a bit early in the run of this restaurant to actually try to bring something like that in. There's already so many changes coming in and so many people, Tina, who do not want to change and are not willing to adapt. That is just like, this doesn't seem like a great idea. I agree with you, Sydney. It was poop.
Carmy, here's, I guess, both Carmy's greatest strength and biggest weakness is that he does not want to swim in like 4 foot water. He wants to just like
Who
cannonball.
wants to do that? I agree with you, Carmy. Let's
Well,
cannonball.
I used to be afraid of the deep water. So like when I was like 12, I'm good with the 4 feet, but he wants
I'm
to.
a swimmer. As
I,
much as I'm a non-athlete and anything else, you give me a body of water, I'm in it. I'm also a Pisces, so that might have something to do with it.
well,
Where are
I'm
my Pisces at? If you Pisces too, leave it in the comments.
I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. I'm a Libra, which is emotional and weird. And so there you go. I'm in the short end crying in the pool because I'm afraid of the deep end. But
I'm creative and emotional, so I'm also crying, but I'm swimming
you're
while I'm in
crying and
it.
swimming at the same. Congratulations. No, this he really is about. I'm not gonna handhold you through a lot of this sort of stuff. You know what, Sydney? Here you go. Have at it. Good luck. This is another very stressful episode of The Bear when it comes to how all these people are taking on this new role at once.
Absolutely.
Well, we will get into more of how all of this works. There's another big celebrity cameo in this episode. But before we dive further here, be sure to join our Patreon. There's a link in the description below. And if you do so, you can feast on our weekly live streams that are every Tuesday night where we take questions from all of you guys, talk
Mm-hmm.
about The Bear and a lot of other great shows. It is a great time for all of us to make a meal out of all of the shows we are watching. So thank you for checking that
Thank
out
you.
and for those of you who are supporting us.
Okay, let's talk about Molly Ringwald right away. Listen, I grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
She was an icon then. She's still an icon to me now. The show sort of opening up with Carmy actually deciding to go to a meeting and she's there speaking. I was just like, oh, listen, the show has so many amazing guest stars, but this one really like got me to see her. I was just like, oh my goodness. I'm so happy that she's back working.
It's funny because I would think usually for like a show in the second or third season, you would have like a lot of big names being willing to sort of come on board because they already know it's a success. But Molly Ringwald, this was season 1. She had no idea what this show was going to be good or not. Like it's a bigger risk for someone of her notoriety to come
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
And I know that it wasn't like she was around for the bulk of the episode or anything, but like what was going on with her character in that scene, that's all really important for Carmy's emotional state and where he's at with everything that is going on with him. And
Hmm.
that sort of was the tone setter for the start and the end of the episode. We have these scenes of him just like standing by the water,
Hmm.
and like that's really the emotional introspection into what's really making this show work. It's one of the better looks inside his head that we've had.
Anytime I see somebody standing by the water now, I just think about Kendall Roy.
Oh no.
Like, it's just, he's given me like this sort of like worried feeling that anytime I see anybody by the water now, that something horrible is going to happen. But nothing horrible happened here. He went to this early meeting. We saw him in the middle of the episode have a bit of a breakdown and run to a meeting again. And by the end of the episode, was just one of my favorite scenes so far out of the whole series. I know we've only seen 3 episodes,
Yeah.
but so far, seeing Carmy and Sydney sit down together and have that discussion about just actual communication and really listening to each other, where we had Carmy tell her that they're going to do the brigade. She said no. We will get into how bad that
Yeah.
went. But her really sitting down with him and being like, you need to listen to me. Like, if I'm your second in command, I need to have a voice in this. It can't just be whatever you say. And if I'm telling you it's not going to work, I'm telling you this for a reason. And the reason is no one's going to listen to me because we haven't really set out enough for them to respect me or want to listen to me. They're not listening to you. Like, how is this really going to work? And him admitting to her when she's like, and you're not even here. You just ran out, literally ran out of here. And him explaining to her why he was doing that. They was like, listen, I went to a meeting, Michael was an addict. Like I needed to get to that meeting. Her cracking a joke at that exact moment. I was like, this is exactly what these two people need. Like there is a real respect and friendship growing between them because she is not involved with Michael, his family, any of the, people from the old time, people from the restaurant. She is somebody who is impartial, who was not deep in the deep dark with everybody else. And he needs that.
He's clearly not somebody who is comfortable with speaking with people who are that close to him. And in a weird way,
or close to Michael.
I think he relates to Sydney more than he does people close to Michael, even though, Sydney may not know Michael. Sydney knows what it's like to be, a chef. She knows what it's like to really be that aspirational and want to push yourself to the next level and give like your life to all of this, which is, I think, why he even is okay with this idea of pushing on her. And since you brought up the Kinder Roy analogy, I'm just going to say this, bringing up Cooking Plus into the kitchen in hopes that this is going to bring everybody to the next level. The Cooking Plus, just like Living Plus, there's a lot of question marks going on here, but he obviously didn't have the best idea in the world there. He threw everybody into the deep end a little bit too fast, but it does show the amount of trust that he has in Sydney, just the idea that he thinks that she can pull something like that even off in the first place.
And there's a real level of respect there with her as well between them. But as she's seen, there isn't respect from everyone that's, within the rest of the crew there. Like everything that was happening with Tina, where she's just like, I'm not having this. Oh, you need this to simmer, boil. I'm just going to destroy everything. And it was interesting to see that kind of a pushback, that it's not only just defiance of, I told you to cut the onions. I just decided not to. And straight up sabotage, where it's just like, I'm going to make sure that this is destroyed.
Yeah. They don't want to change things because I think it's like almost any other job out there where you get sort of a certain degree of comfort, and anything that's beyond that comfort is scary, especially when nothing is promised that go along with it, because it's already been established that, the restaurant here, the sandwich shop, it's not exactly thriving and being super lucrative and super profitable.
And they just got a C rating.
Yeah, like that's a lot of pressure to throw on these people. And then beyond that, this idea of, okay, we're changing things now. What if it gets even worse? Then I'm going to be out of a job entirely. So there's a lot of fear in these actions. And it's like, even the fact, like we see at one point in this episode, that, there's a lot of clientele there. Like the restaurant's pretty packed, but it's not like anyone is sort of seeing that and being like, okay, everything is going to be good now, because I think they all know how much pressure they're all under.
Yeah, and they're not all in the same frame of mind as Carmy and Sydney, who are like, oh, this could be the next big thing. We can really make this something.
Yeah.
Some of them are there because they need a job. And that's not the same as, I'm part of this. I'm part of this business. I want this business to thrive. Some are there that way, but some are not. Some are there to have a paycheck to be able to go and live their lives doing other things.
And some of them may just need a little bit of kick of inspiration. It's sort of, I really feel like it's disrespectful for the bear for me to keep comparing things to Kitchen Nightmares, but listen, this is
They have a
this
C rating. What are you gonna
this
do?
is the experience that I have in the chef world, is watching that. And in a lot of those episodes, you see Gordon Ramsay yelling at somebody, being like, "Where's the inspiration?" And he gets really
Is that
mad.
your Gordon Ramsay? Oh,
You
mad.
donkey. Okay, no,
Oh dear.
no, but he does really get at people for being like, you have been so in a rut that you're not able to tap into what made you a good cook in the first place. And
Mhm.
I think that, we haven't seen any other upcoming episodes,
No.
but despite these struggles that go on with the brigade and these whole ideas, I think this is going to help the entire team sort of start to realize that, okay, I can do something else. I am good at this again.
Mhm.
I can just take a little bit of time to think about this and figure out how to forge my path forward. Do I think that there's still going to be a lot of conflict, a lot of yelling? Yes, that is the world that has been set up here, but at the same time, it's still a little bit of a step forward.
Okay, let's talk about Richie and who is Nico, because it came up that we had this moment where Nico called in and was like, "Hey, I'm looking for Michael." So I mean,
Yeah.
Michael's passed away. It's been a little while now. It hasn't been like a year or anything, but it's been a little while now that Nico, whoever this person is, hasn't called in within that time. Because at first I was kind of like who is he? Is he a lone person? Is he a dealer? Like if he's a dealer, he wouldn't have not called in for a couple months.
Yeah.
Like he would have been a little more on that, or if he was had to do with a loan, he would have been a little more on that. I don't know. It was kind of weird that because the show has seemingly made it that it's been a few months since Michael's passed on. Why wouldn't this person have called in by then? But Richie knows exactly who he is and is like, oh, Nico's calling in. Cool. Well, you know what? I'll deal with him. And we see them very briefly, like talking, exchanging something by the dumpster, but it's not clear who he is. But what is clear is that it really hits Carmy really hard, especially since it's Michael's birthday.
I think this is Nico's bad news. Like, I don't know exactly what exactly he is doing, what he's up
Do
to.
you think he's worse news than Oliver Platt showing up being like, now you owe me 300,000?
It's a different sort of bad news. I think Oliver Platt is the financial bad news. But if it's possible that Nico is somehow involved in like drug related bad news, it's a different sort of bad news, because this is just my impression. Not very many good things happen close to a dumpster. Like, this is not a place people want to hang out.
Definitely not on TV.
No, and especially, if you're specifically being like, okay, let's go meet over here by the dumpster away from everybody else. You don't want everybody to see exactly what you're doing. The fact that Richie is like, okay, I will take care of it. You're not really coming out and explaining to anybody else what it is. If you're just like, oh, this is our lettuce guy,
This is our lettuce.
you're going to be a little bit more open and vocal about, hey, I just got to meet with the lettuce guy. But anyway, like, regardless, this guy is he's clearly not there for a great reason. It's something that I'm sure we'll get a further answer on, but the fact that how Michael's life ended how it did, I think it's clear that he had a lot of dark stuff going on, and a lot of that is going to rise to the surface at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure that it will. I mean, it was good to see that Carmy is going to meetings and he's trying to get some kind of help or clarity on stuff. I mean, he has so much weighing on him. We saw before in the last episode, he's setting his own kitchen on fire like in a half days. He's so all over the place with his grief, with his guilt, survivor's guilt, all of that. He's just has so much piling on him that it really was, again, the highlight for me, seeing him and his friendship with Sydney. Please don't hook them up. I'm just going to throw that out there. I do not want to see that. It is so refreshing to see just this respect between these two, this friendship that's building, that she's actually starting to poke some jokes and he's, able to smile over, some darker stuff. This is something I want to continue to see grow. But I know that shows love to make people, they love love.
I love love too, but
I just don't see it. I just see so much friendship and great respect.
platonic friendships are okay.
We
There's
don't get them very often.
no, there's a reason Apple TV Plus made a show entitled Platonic that I will not say everything here, but I have a take on that finale. It's going to make people really, really mad. But I love platonic friendships on TV. I think they are a really, really great one with a lot of potential. Like, there's a part of me with episode 3 that's kind of wrestling with, could we have gotten something more paid off with the letter and the stuff in episode 2?
I can wait with that.
I think it's probably for the best, just because the whole idea of it is that it's not something that Carmy would find right away.
No, because it's like I said,
Yeah.
time has passed since Michael has passed, so that letter has been sitting there for a couple months.
Yeah.
And Richie only found it now. So if it was like the next episode, all of a sudden Carmy found it, be like, okay, come on.
No, I
the
want
show is too good for that.
it needs to be found this season. Like, I don't want it to be something that's left for me. I want it to be found this season, because that'll tell me, okay, the writers they're leaving nothing on the table here. They're really going for it.
Yeah.
But we can wait on that for now. The Bear, still strong, still great through these first few episodes.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, one of you guys in the comments left that this is to really look at this as a whole. And yeah, we haven't watched all of it yet. We've only watched the 3 episodes, but that really this feels like a long movie where some of the episodes may not be like bam, 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 but they're so important to threading through everything. And even in just 3 episodes, I completely feel the same way about it.
Okay, well, we will be here to go through the rest of season 1. So join our Patreon. Our link is in the description below. We have weekly live discussions over there on Tuesdays. We'll talk to Bear a whole lot more.
Yep.
Thank you to everybody who has joined it, and we'll see you here next time.